finished strong last night, holding on for a one-run win in the series opener. Now Joe Ross is back on the mound to face the league's highest scoring offense on a cool and wet afternoon in St. Louis. Right back at it here in St. Louis after a scintillating 5-4 win last night that featured good pitching, timely hitting, the Nats' usual solid defense. Murphy right in the middle of the batting race, and Yadier Molina, future Hall of Fame catcher, back in the lineup for St. Louis today. Bob and FP, welcome to Busch Stadium. Great to get a win in this place. Only 7 out of 33 the Nats had been in this ballpark over the years. So you get a good win, quality opponent, road trip, series off to a good start.
Yeah, off to a great start. I'll start with Michael Taylor last night. First hitter of the game, and you're talking about a team that's had trouble scoring runs, 22 scoreless innings, and then Michael Taylor walks up and goes tater to right field to start it. So you're feeling good about how this road trip starts. 1-0 Nats. The Cardinals will score a couple. Then in the 4th inning, the line started moving. Rendon with a single. Ryan Zimmerman doing his thing, scoring on a Jason Worth sac fly. So the little things, stealing bases, manufacturing runs. And then the big thing last night was Danny Espinosa and his first home run of the year. So a 5-4 win, a feel-good win for the Nats last night. And hopefully you bring that momentum into today's game against the Cards.
Yeah, Danny went out and got that one. Good to see him get into that home run column. So when everything else is going right, doesn't take that many hits to win. Defense has been solid. The pitching great. I mean, Strasburg untouchable at times last night. And now today we finally get to see Joe Ross join this rotation again that has been so effective, all 5 of them so far.
Yeah, the staff has been locked in, and it's taking pressure off the offense. I mean, it's keeping you in ball games. When you look at what they've done this year, starting strong, 11-4, the ERA at 2.31, strikeouts per 9, check that out. And 2 earned runs or fewer in 16 of their 22 games. And the line moves to Joe Ross today. And he did great in April 10th against the Marlins. He went 7 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. And then the Phillies, 7 2/3, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, and a 9-1 win. We'll keep an eye on his right middle finger today. Probably get a lot of close-ups of that blister. See how that thing's doing. It should be fine. He's ready to go. And how about the righties against Joe Ross this year? 3 for 30, a 100 average.
Yeah, the lefty 6 for 26. You'll take that as well. 231, not bad at all. And at the age of 22, FP, I think we are just scratching the surface of what this young man is capable of. And when you look at the ages of the rotation from Scherzer all the way down to Ross, it's kind of like a stepping stone, and everybody kind of fits together really well.
Yeah, I mean, and their stuff fits together really well. And, you know, Joe Ross's slider, the sinker, the command he's had, the presence. I don't think of him as a 22-year-old when I watch him pitch. And don't forget about Joe Ross, the hitter. The Nats have 9 hitters in their lineup today.
Yeah, Joe Ross did not look like a rookie when he came to the big leagues. Nothing bothered him, unflappable on the mound. So Bryce Harper, maybe against a left-hander, that right shoulder stays in a little longer and he starts stinging the ball again because he's been very good against lefties.
Righties, lefties, it doesn't matter, but I think the bat's kind of quieted a little bit lately, and a lefty might be just what the doctor ordered for Bryce Harper. Go the other way, hit the ball to left center a few times here today.
Come on, Cardinals, don't walk in, pitch to him. We want some excitement at the ballpark today. So Harper this season, over 350 against lefties, 5 extra base hits. He hit around 260 against him his first 4 seasons. Game 2, the Nationals and the Cardinals. Baseball on Masson, brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you, by Eastern Lexus. Some things are simply impossible to ignore. The strikingly designed Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Let us show you a good time in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. Folks still coming in. Chris Spire ready. Dugout getting all warmed up for this one. And the Nats on a day when it's 66 degrees. Humidity way up there, but it rained hard a good part of the night and a good part of the morning. Hopefully a big enough window to play continuous baseball here today. Michael A. Taylor led off with another home run last night. Daniel Murphy against left-handers doing a job. 19 at bats and 9 hits, slugging very well. Murphy, by the way, 4th in batting average, 5th in hits, and 2nd in multi-hit games with 10. Pretty much the same guys out there tonight to take on Jaime Garcia. Now the Nationals haven't seen him since June of 2014.
Yeah, fastball, slider, curveball change. Fastball 90, the slider 82. Last start on the 25th at Arizona, received a no decision. The Cardinals 12-7 loss. 5 innings, 4 runs on 8 hits, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. Set the defense for the Cardinals behind Jaime Garcia. Holiday, Hazel, Baker, Moss the outfield. Tejada, Carpenter left side. Wong, Adams right side. And Yadier Molina behind the plate.
So here's Michael A. Taylor. Along with Jose Lobaton, the only Nationals in the lineup today who haven't hit against Jaime Garcia in the past. It's 2:15 Washington time, and here we go. '20-year veteran, the crew chief Jeff Nelson has the plate. Doug Eddings, Laz Diaz, and Ben May around the bases. Carpenter even with the bag at third. Taylor goes left field, ball hooking away from Matt Holliday, who runs it down. So Michael A. Taylor getting some good swings in the leadoff spot. The Nats, well, they were about 8 months apart, but we'll take it. 2 in a row in St. Louis. Joe Ross, nearly 16 innings of a scoreless streak. And St. Louis, when they score 5 or few, they're almost unbeatable. If you keep them down, I mean, there's no real science to this. Keep them down, you can beat them. And Mike Matheny's ball club, though, does score a lot of runs. A major league leading 141. Here's Anthony Rendon.
Good take. That was close.
Garcia had thoracic outlet surgery July of 2014. On the DL a couple of times last year, so that's why the Nats haven't seen him in a while. And the count 1-1 to Anthony. 20 hits on the year. Had a key base hit, a key steal, helped out by a dusty challenge last night. But got that 4-run 4th inning moving. 2-1. Rendon 0 for 5 career against Garcia with a base on balls.
I think one of the keys to hitting Jaime Garcia, we've seen him over the years, is use the middle of the field and go the other way.
Off the pitcher's glove, Rendon legging one out. Tejada had no chance, even had he picked it up. So a base hit, as you say. Rendon hitting it hard right up the middle.
Because if you look in off Garcia, you're falling into his trap. He'll throw those cutters, sliders into a right-hander, and it opens up everything else for him. So disregard the middle part of the plate today against Garcia. Think the other way or right back up the middle. And that's exactly what Anthony Rendon does. Gets that cutter slider thing, goes right back at him, and there goes the no-hitter.
Bryce Harper career against Garcia, 1 for 6. A homer and 3 RBIs. Robbed of a double by Matt Adams here last night. He was 0 for 3 with a walk. And Harper hits one out to left center. But it's hanging up in the air, and Holliday is there in the gap. 2 outs. Let's go inside the numbers from our friends at Jeep. When they jump on top, the Nationals almost as unbeatable as the Tigers. Did that last night with Taylor's leadoff home run.
Padres sneaking in there.
Yeah, evidently their problems after the first inning. So here's Ryan Zimmerman. 0 for 3, a walk, a run scored last night. Good base running after that walk.
Pretty good career numbers against the Cards. Sun coming out?
It's getting brighter. Zimmerman 2 for 12 against Garcia. Play Ryan straight away. A lot of hitting room right side. Garcia likes to work right-handers away.
Let's see if the Cards notes jinx Jaime Garcia today. He is not allowed a home run in 103 batters faced this year. That was before the game. That was in the Cardinals notes.
Yeah, usually only broadcasters get named for that. It's more of the spoken word rather than the printed.
Oh, I read it and I said, well, the Nats are going to hit a home run today. That's what that means. See, that's the pitch you can't look for. React to it late in the count if you have to in an emergency swing, but if you look in there, you start flying open, and then the changeup and the two-seam fastball away are even better off Jaime Garcia. So just disregard the inner half today against this guy if you're a right-hander.
There's a changeup and Ryan not biting. 3-1. Fastball away. 2 on, 2 out. And now another guy who handles lefties well. Murphy against Garcia, career 2 for 6. Had that key single with 1 out in the 4th. Got the Nats back even. Worth tied it with the sac fly. Then Espinoza went bullpen to give the Nationals all the runs they needed.
Is 9 for 19, 474 off lefties, handling them well?
That's handling them. In fact, it's kind of hammering them.
Yeah, it is.
Aledmys Diaz is on the bench today with his 446. Martin Prado of Miami really coming on over the last 2 weeks, and Murphy, number 3 in all of baseball.
Couldn't crack the lineup with a 420 average.
It's okay with us. Former Met Ruben Tejada is at short. Murphy up the middle. That's going to drop. Here comes Rendon around third. Hazelbaker's throw is offline. They just let it roll all the way to the backstop. Nobody went after the baseball, and Murphy ends up at second base. That throw was way offline, and the Nats are on top.
Not try to do too much, right back up the middle, so that 9 for 19 off lefty turns into 10 for 20. Now Daniel Murphy hitting 500 off left-handers this year, and he puts his ball club up 1-0. Stay up the middle. 2 hits, both up the middle. And Nats take the early lead, and that was not a good throw by Jeremy Hazelbaker.
St. Louis, 22nd error of the year, the most in baseball.
I mean, that wasn't even close. It was almost in the Cardinals dugout. Mike Matheny almost had to make a play.
Jason Worth, 4 career hits against Garcia with a homer and 3 RBIs.
My knock here would be huge.
Ooh, Yadier Molina, a pretty good block on a pitch that hit way out in front. So RBI single, E8, getting Murphy to second.
Jason Worth hitting .273 against lefties this year. I'm going to be the left-handed average guy, talker guy today, okay?
Fine with me. It's working okay.
Yep.
Two and 0.
Good take. He was looking 2-0 fastball, got the change, and ID'd it early.
Zimmerman third base. He walked with 2 outs. Murphy behind him after the RBI single. First baseman Adams about 40 feet off the bag. Big gap in left center. And Worth will pull this ball to left. Heading for the wall and gone. Jason Worth makes it a 4 spot for the Nationals in the top of the first.
I'll tell you what, when he took that 2-0 changeup, you know he's seeing the ball well. If you're scuffling as a hitter, you offer at that 2-0 changeup because it looks just like the fastball. The fact that Jason Worth spit on it and the fact that he's been hitting the ball well the last 3 or 4 games, you had a feeling he was going to hit something hard.
Hey, quick question. How long since Garcia had given up a homer?
Oh, that's right. I mean, it had to happen. The Cardinals PR department jinxed it.
Danny Espinosa is the 7th Nat to bat in the top of the first.
108 hitters this year. He hasn't given up a home run until that one right there to Jason Worth.
And that 114th hitter will get you every time.
And Danny's got good numbers against Jaime Garcia too.
Yeah, from the right side, 6 for 13 with an RBI. Espinosa, he was on that heater, fouled it straight back. So Jason Worth now 4 homers on the year. RBI total shoots up to 12. Home run number 202 for the Nats left fielder. Max Scherzer goes tomorrow in his hometown.
Remember that Joe Ross start in Philadelphia against Jeremy Hellickson. He had, what, 5 runs before he took the mound? And even hit. Had a double.
That's right.
In the top of the first inning. So he's getting close to hitting again. He's putting his gloves on, helmet. Rick Shute telling him what he's going to get.
1-2 to Espinosa. Danny goes way out of the strike zone to miss that one. All right, the Nats. 2 hits, a walk, and Jason Worth's 4th home run of the year. It's another big first inning for the Nationals. Something you never get tired of seeing, especially when it's in the road unis. in the middle of his, facing this St. Louis lineup. Matt Adams has homered now in 5 straight games against the Nats. Last night he went opposite field against Blake Trinan to make that ball game close in the bottom of the 8th, but he only has 2 homers, 6 RBIs this year. Yadier Molina with a 10-game hitting streak back in their lineup. And Matt Holliday is heating it up. He's 7 for his last 15. Now Joe, 2 2/3 innings career against St. Louis, first start against the Cardinals.
Yeah, 2-seam fastball 93, he'll 4-seam it 2, slider 83, changeup 88. Last start on April 20th against the Marlins was shortened by that blister on his right middle finger. He just went 2 innings through 33 pitches. And we'll keep an eye on that today, but by all accounts, he's good to go.
And that was exactly 10 days ago. Here we are on the final day of April. First pitch low in the zone, the way he likes it, to Jeremy Hazelbaker, hitting .322. Guy who's been in the minor leagues for more than 7 years with Boston, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, has burst onto the scene with some big clutch hits for them. Doesn't play every day right now. Rendon will back up a little bit with 2 strikes because this guy can fly.
Looking for the sink on the Joe Ross fastball today after 10 days off. Is he going to be strong? Will it sink, or is he going to throw it through the sink? So far it looks pretty good, but he's sitting at 95 right out of the gate.
Yeah, and a real easy looking 95 too. Giants, Matt Cain, Mets, Jacob deGrom a little later this afternoon. Nationals a half game up on New York. The Mets have won 7 straight.
Mets set a franchise record with that 12-run inning last night. That's the most they've ever scored in an inning, ever.
Wow. Cubs rained out today at home. Only thing that can stop them is the weather, evidently. Ross misses way upstairs and away again. 2-2. Joe's career record 7-5. Pitching coach Mike Maddox watching Joe's 17th big league start, 20th appearance overall. Murphy just onto the grass on the right side of the infield, as is Espinosa. And Hazelbaker just guides it right down that line where Rendon was about 25 feet off the line. And the story of Hazelbaker continues here in St. Louis.
Nice piece of hitting right there by the Cardinals leadoff hitter. Let's set the defense for the Nationals. Worth, Taylor, Harper, your outfield. Espinosa, Rendon left side. Murphy, Zimmerman right side. And Jose Lobaton behind the plate. He had the best hit of the night last night, by the way. That blooper to third with the shift that landed right behind the third base bag that was in the air for about 4 seconds.
That'll send rumblings all over the league regarding shifts. That hit.
Tipped his cap when he was at first. You love those as a hitter.
Here's Matt Carpenter. The Nats play him to pull on the infield, but Rendon has to stay home because of the runner. Carpenter shows bunt, takes a strike. Led off last night, base hit first time, scored one of their 2 first inning runs, and then went 1 for 5. Carpenter against Ross, 0 for 1 with a walk.
See Carpenter's practice swings? Well, he's doing it normal now. The pitch before, he was halfway up on the bat, swinging half on a bat between pitches.
Interesting. Grabbing some pine tar along with that practice swing.
No gloves, maybe that's it.
Well, Joe looking to shut down the best offense in baseball right here in the first after being handed that huge lead. 0-2 to Carpenter. And he'll guide one to right. Bryce Harper will get there. Hazelbaker tagging, and he didn't get back quickly enough. Bryce getting the ball back in, and no advancement by the runner.
Well, maybe that last second adjustment by Bryce Harper fooled Jeremy Hazelbaker on second base. It looked like Harper had a beat on it. Then he had to readjust because that ball had more carry. You see Hazelbaker scrambling back at the last second. Kind of a tough read for Hazelbaker. But a nice piece of hitting by Matt Carpenter trying to advance a runner, but didn't work out.
So here's Matt Holliday now. Trying to get his back foot dug in there. Three for 4 last night, and now 7 hits his last 5 games. Three hitters in a row. Ross starts out with a fastball low in the zone. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Well, we said this is the way you pitch Matt Holliday last night. Fastballs in. Don't let him get extended. Tremendous pop up the middle the other way. He'll pull the off speed, but the Nats have had success against Holliday crowding him with the fastball.
Great stop by Jose Lobaton.
A good block keeping Hazelbaker at second base. Textbook.
Just a little bit away. Holliday facing Ross, first time ever. As will Matt Adams when he comes up. He's the on deck hitter here. Right side ground ball. Daniel Murphy waiting for it. 2 down. Two for 4 last night. First inning RBI. 8th inning homer. He went the other way both times with the single against Strasburg and the home run against Trinan.
Yeah, first time up, he had a routine ground ball to shortstop, and you see where Rendon is today. He was playing more toward third base yesterday, so he's going to guard that 5.5 hole, or actually straightaway shortstop. But Adams with both of his hits the other way, one in the stands, one to shortstop.
And that's you know, based on history before that, kind of the way the Nationals wanted to pitch him, because all of his previous damage had been to the pull side. Big, strong, left-handed hitter. Played in only 60 games last year. Had all kinds of problems with his quad. Had to have surgery on it on the right side. And Ross goes soft with 88 in the dirt, 2-0.
I'll tell you what, that shift gives Jeremy Hazelbaker a chance to get halfway to home. I mean, if the ball just trickles away from Jose Lobaton, he's scoring. Anthony Rendon playing short, nobody near him, and he was, I don't know, a good 30 feet down the line, easy. Maybe more.
Walking. Now that would have been ball 3. Joe Ross dropping a nasty hook on Adams, who couldn't stop his swing. He's 40 feet down the line.
He's almost home right now.
Adams lifting one in the air. It'll stay in the yard. The call by Taylor. So Joe Ross gets that shutdown inning. The Nats now lead all of baseball, by the way, with 30 first inning runs. They win big this year by scoring 7 or more. Yeah, they got to win. 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com. Enter promo code NATS50. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Washington Nationals, and that's valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia Papa John's.
Another good crowd here today. Last night it was rocking in this ballpark.
Lobaton, Ross, and Taylor. Jose 0 for 2 right-handed this year. First at bat career against Garcia, who threw 23 pitches first inning, 13 strikes.
I mean, you could see the team game plan for the first 7 hitters. They're taking everything on the inner third. It's spit on anything in and eyes light up on anything up, anything away.
Only 3 out of 8 first pitch strikes.
The ball Jason Worth hit out wasn't in. He kind of reached out and pulled that to left field.
Garcia, 29 years of age, 53 and 33 career. 122nd start. And Lobaton, a 2-hopper to the shortstop, former Met Ruben Tejada. All right, let's see how Joe Ross fares against a soft tossing lefty. He's had some great at bats, 2 hits as a starter, 1 as a pinch hitter.
Well, his pitch hit against the Twins in that 16-inning game the other day was against the soft tossing lefty, remember? Had a bullet back up the middle. He can hit. He doesn't just hit, he gives you a good at bat. Even when he makes outs, it's a 5 or 6 pitch at bat.
Six for 34 is a big league hitter. So first time through the order, Garcia fails to get ahead of 6 of the first 9 batters. Garcia career 6 starts against the Nationals. 4-1, 2.88. 30 pitches to get 4 outs. Been crushing a couple of balls right up the middle of the ballpark. Here's a 2-2. He went out and got that one, and it's out to Colton Wong at second base. Ross hustling all the way. Wong had to be quick to throw him out by a step.
Bud and Burger Packs presented by Budweiser on sale right now. If you go to the ballpark, nobody's there. Get Thursday, Friday, or Saturday game tickets, and you can get the Bud and Burger Pack plus a beer and a burger starting at just $35. Some restrictions apply. Visit nationals.com/Bud&Burger. Might have to go watch the Caps game there tonight at the Brew House.
Their beloved Blues beaten by Dallas last night. Caps tonight. Michael A. Taylor hit the ball pretty well first time, lined out to Matt Holliday, who had to move toward the line to get a hooking line drive. Taylor's action off the bat had about the same as Worth's later. Jason got all of his, hit at 373.
Did you just make up the 373, or did you get that?
I got that officially. I have my sources here.
They do. They're on the home run distance here quick, aren't they?
They are.
There it is, 373.
Good take, great take on 0-2 by Michael A. Taylor. Nissan will follow it all the way in and down. Three takes after the 0-2.
Yeah, he's been a lot more patient the last 3 or 4 games, and you see the results. He's getting base hits. He's going deeper into counts, getting on base, almost like a prototypical leadoff hitter. If you remember early in the season, he was hacking at the first or second pitch every single at bat.
3-2, and the changeup got him. Nationals go 1-2-3. Ross back to work. 4-0 Washington.
make an error defensively for the Nationals this year, turned a nice double play last night, maybe carried a reputation as not the strongest defender into this year. But Dusty Baker was talking about that earlier today. He calls negative reputations like that jackets. He said people are waiting to put a jacket on you, talk about something that you can't do, and then when you do something that supports that jacket, they jump all over you about it. Dusty said he likes to come into situations and take those proverbial jackets off of guys. He says you start with a clean slate. Reputations don't mean anything to me. Dusty says that Murphy's done an outstanding job defensively. He says no one works harder at it than Murphy does, and he loves the way that he's attacked his defensive play this season, saying I'm not going to put that jacket on him as a bad defender. From what I've seen, he's been fantastic.
That's Dan with a Coons.com sideline report. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting.
You know, Dan had a nice jacket on.
Somebody threw that on him. Yadier Molina
played with some guys that needed a straight jacket. But I mean, he's done everything they've asked of him at second base, and I think the most important thing when you have a bad reputation as a defensive player is to make the routine play. I mean, it's not about the web gem, it's not about the highlight reel play. Just field every single routine ground ball that comes to you, and I think that can be said for every major leaguer. Yeah, we like watching the highlight reels and the top 10 plays and all that stuff, but the difference between a big league infielder and a minor league infielder is making the routine play on a consistent basis.
1-2 to Yadier Molina, who's hitting .333 at the age of 33. And Murphy's been fantastic. Another base hit today, key RBI. Oh, didn't he? Yeah, last night he drove in a run right before a homer. Espinosa. Today he does it right before a homer. Worth. One, two again. Molina, tough guy to strike out. 11 Ks, 11 walks this year.
It's because he spreads out and flips the ball to right with 2 strikes. It's hard to get in out.
That Bryce is playing over toward the line. This is off the end of the bat. Espinosa after it. Danny will get there. Great range, going straight away from the infield.
Well, that's what Molina does with 2 strikes. He just takes a lot out of his swing, tries to put the ball in play, flips it out there, and Danny Espinosa, watch the range. The over-the-shoulder catch, not a problem.
4 straight by Ross since the Hazel Baker double leading off the bottom of the first, and Brandon Moss is next. Moss 0 for 1 career against Ross. Big shift on here. Espinosa not far from Laz Diaz. Murphy 10 feet into right field.
Like trying to do in the Cup thing. Look at Oliver Perez's influence on the bullpen guys.
That's why we got him.
Oliver Perez saying that he does that every game. We showed him the other night. Doing the same thing that Blake Triton's doing with the styrofoam Gatorade cup.
Human can opener.
It's part of his routine.
The things you learn from veterans, huh?
Yep.
2 balls, 1 strike. Joe's never been timid about pitching inside. Not sure he wanted to go in that far. Didn't want to go to 3-1, but effective pitch to a guy who pulls the ball a lot. That's in there.
Might have been a changeup at 3-1. This is 89, right? Fastball 95, changeup 89. Says his changeup average is 88, so taking a little off.
Payoff pitch with 1 out. Rolls the breaking ball. There's Murphy out there.
You think Dan was a little nervous on that ground ball?
I think he was.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller time later in today's ball game. That's brought to you by Miller Lite.
Next up is a familiar face for the Nats, and that's 26-year-old Ruben Tejada. The former Met hit .261 last year. He was 0 for 5 with a walk in the division series when Chase Utley broke his leg on that slide into second base that led to a rule change all across baseball this year. Happened on a big stage. Everybody saw it. Good to see Ruben's okay. St. Louis signed him right at the end of spring training as a free agent.
He's a good player.
That was after Johnny Peralta got hurt. Big hook. That thing one side of the plate to the other. There's Peralta, who's on the DL right now. So out of nowhere comes Ledmys Diaz.
Yeah, he's trying to Wally Pip him, isn't he, with the start he's got?
Peralta's hit 38 home runs here in 2 years. In fact, 21 2 years ago, a St. Louis shortstop record. Now Joe Ross has Tejada 1-2. Young shortstop getting a day off. And a 2-2. Swing and a miss. First strikeout. So Hazel Baker led off the first with a double. Since then, Joe Ross 6 in a row. And the Nationals will have 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Even the ballpark. And here we go with some more numbers from Jeep. Most runs in an inning this year. For the Nats, it's the first. For the Rockies, it's the 8th. And then the Rockies are on there again for the 4th inning.
Tells me they played a lot of home games and they can hit.
Yeah, Trevor Story and Nolan Arenado each have 10 home runs now. So we're going top 3 here in St. Louis. Thanks, Jeep. Good numbers. Here's Rendon, Harper, and Zimmerman. Anthony the hit. The line drive off of Garcia that got the rally going with 1 out, first inning. First pitch strike. His 39th pitch of the day, strike number 22. They tried to jam him, and they did get it in there. Anthony didn't miss it by much. Matt Holliday waiting and waiting. That thing carried to the edge of the track, about 365 feet away. Well, Bryce against lefties. He's done damage this year.
A couple taters off lefties. That in Philadelphia off Olber Fultzer, and this one off Narveson on April 19th in Miami.
Yeah, that was the grand slam, the third of that 4 home run inning. Ryan Zimmerman followed with a solo right after that. Let's go inside some numbers with PNC. Previous 4 seasons, Bryce around 260. This year over 350. And all the other numbers, the on-base percentage and the slugging, jump right up with it. 1-0 pitch. Look out.
It's interesting to see how teams have adjusted to Bryce Harper with the shift. You know, usually they leave the third baseman at home to guard against the bunt in the whole left side. He's got a couple of ground ball singles through there. Now you see Matt Carpenter guarding that hole, a lot like Rendon was doing against Matt Adams.
Harper jacks another one, way foul. So the first one was almost a 90-degree angle. That one was 45. And someone in St. Louis wants to videotape a home run at bat by Bryce Harper.
Someone still has a real camera.
Harper on a breaking ball, swing and a miss. Strikeout number 3 by Jaime Garcia.
Taste of the World on May 28th. Celebrate DC's international community with Taste of the World. Special ticket. You can enjoy a pre-game culinary experience and take home a set of National salt and pepper shakers. Visit nationals.com/special ticket events to buy today. The Taste of the World here at the media dining today. They had the team cardiologist in there for when I got done.
I heard the world can be a dangerous place.
They had a nachos bar
for breakfast?
For breakfast here today.
Nice.
And then the team cardiologist was just coming to every table saying, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm good, thanks."
Ryan Zimmerman walked with 2 outs in the first. Counts even here in the third. Delayed call by Jeff Nelson, strike 2. Ryan took a quick glance back.
And Nelson's been calling the low strikes so far. He called one to Rendon, now this one to Zimmerman.
Wow. And if it's out of our pitch track, you know it's low.
Yeah, and you want to zone Jaime Garcia up. If you're a hitter, you're laying off anything that starts around your knees.
And now if you know you have to swing at that. Then he takes a fastball as Garcia just sneaks it by him. That's 7 straight for Garcia since the Jason Worth homer. That's the big difference in this game.
But I want to show you how Ryan handles this. You look at, yeah, maybe low, borderline pitch, but watch, he turns toward his dugout. Ball, 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 ball. But with the 4-0 lead, my point is, he didn't make a big deal about it. He wants Joe Ross to have the same pitches, and he didn't want to wake any umpire up and have them start to change their strike zone a little bit. So it's a veteran approach by a guy that's calm, cool, and been around a long time. Nicely done.
I'll tell you, Ryan Zimmerman, without trying, is by far the funniest guy on this team. He rang up 7 balls right there. Here's Colton Wong, followed by Jaime Garcia and Jeremy Hazelbaker. I remember a couple years ago when Harper came back after a homer, Ryan was on deck, held out his hand, just kind of looked up at the stars. I mean, what's up with this kid? Colton Wong hasn't been feeling well. And he's hitting just .216, 11 for 51. 0 for 1 career against Joe Ross with a walk and an RBI. They don't shift on him. He can move the ball around the field, but he's got power. Bullside pop, as we called it, if you make a mistake.
If you snap right there and throw your helmet, throw your bat, now all of a sudden Jeff Nelson's strike zone gets real small for Joe Ross out there. And when you've been around and you know how umpires are, that's how you handle it as a veteran.
Jeff Nelson, 20th year, the crew chief. (0-2) again. Joe Ross, by the way, first 2 innings, 35 pitches, 21 strikes. That's a call at the knees. So maybe because Ryan Zimmerman doesn't snap, his teammate gets that, huh?
Well, he's been down there all day. That's where Jeff Nelson's strike zone. But yeah, you never know. Good frame by Jose Lobaton to pull that up. I don't think there's anybody better in baseball at framing the low pitch than Lobaton. He catches the top half of the ball. It's just a subtle turn of the wrist to take a pitch that a lot of catchers take out of the strike zone back into the strike zone.
Jaime Garcia, he can hit. 3 for 6 with an RBI this year. That one slammed right off the helmet of Jose Lobaton.
Yeah, that was a direct hit. I hope he's okay. I'll tell you what, Mike Matheny's checking it out. That's how his career ended.
Yeah.
Concussions like that on foul balls straight off his mask. And that's a direct hit. And he's going with the old school mask too, not the hockey goalie mask. Well,
no balls, 1 strike. That's a beauty on the inside edge. Garcia, 152 career hitter with 2 home runs. And he drops an off-speed hook on him. That was something. 3 Ks in a row. 2 outs here in the 3rd.
Time for Toyota K's for Kids. The Washington area Toyota dealers want to help children and their families by making a donation of $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by Nats pitcher this year.
Top of the order, Jeremy Hazelbaker. Went long in the count. Fouled off a couple and then stroked a double inside the 3rd base bag. First time up.
I mean, from his very first start, Carp, Joe Ross does not look his age on the mound. His mound presence, his demeanor, maybe it's because he has the older brother Tyson Ross. He's been around him a lot, but fearless from day one, filling up the strike zone, not pitching around anybody, going right after whoever. Strikes all day.
0-1 pitch. Jammed him with a curveball there, and the count deep in the pitcher's favor here. 22 years of age. All the poise you could ever want. Start to get some strikeouts now. Couple of ground ball outs. So after going to 0-2, Joe keeping the ball down there. Great breaking ball for the strikeout. 4 Ks in a row. Now to the middle innings on a cloudy day in St. Louis. It's all Joe Ross, Jason Worth, and the Nats. Unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com today. Bob FP, Dan, the Nats in St. Louis, a 4-0 lead. Top of the 4th coming up. Murphy has an RBI. Worth has the big blow, the 3-run homer. And then Danny Espinosa here. Jaime Garcia averaging 16 pitches per inning. So Murphy with that hit, 3 for 7 career now against this lefty.
Well, this is where Dusty Baker would like his club to add on a few. They always talk about how they score in the first inning, and then you add on 1 or 2 here or there, game's over. But if you sit on it, the other team thinks they're still in the game.
The Nats are 7-3 on the road this year. It's the best road start I can remember our ball club ever getting off to. I mean, it's 700 baseball on the road. I don't care who you're playing
or where you're playing. This is the first place they've played with atmosphere this year.
Murphy skies one.
That first series in Atlanta, I think on opening day there was a good crowd, but after that, crickets. Then they went to Philadelphia after that, maybe a Saturday night crowd, but the other 2 games, not a lot of atmosphere. And then Miami. So this is the first time they've been on the road playing in front of fans where you can feel the energy. And as a visiting player, even though it's not your fans, you feed off that. You love playing in front of packed houses.
48,000 in Atlanta. Swing and a miss as Garcia gets Murphy low. Now he's on a strikeout streak of 3 in a row. Then the Nats played in front of 41,000 in Philly.
Time for Key in the driver's seat. Jason Worth, first time up with his 4th homer on the year. Look at him dig it out. Always been a good low ball hitter. The patented bat toss. Jaime Garcia wishing that one would have stayed in the park, and let you listen to the dugout. Hit speed 97.
Espinosa's was 98 last night. So Jason Worth now career against Garcia, 5 for 18, 2 homers, 6 RBIs. Against a pitcher that you see maybe once a year. And Worth will go to right field with this one. That's going to fall in front of Brandon Moss. He might have been fooled a bit by the swing. Jason Worth 2 for 2, and he has 3 hits in a row in this series. More on Danny Espinosa. Here's Dan.
Bob, Danny Espinosa had been feeling good at the plate even prior to yesterday's 2 for 4 with a home run, but the results hadn't been there. And after yesterday's game, he said that he's actually kind of proud of himself for not really tinkering with his swing when the results weren't showing up for him. He said that that can be tough as a hitter. You feel like you're going well, but you're not getting the hits to drop in, so you start messing with your swing a little bit in the cage, and then you get all out of whack. He said he's stuck with the same approach, he's stuck with the same swing mechanically, and last night got rewarded for it.
That he did, and that was the difference in winning that ball game. Now Danny went way out of the strike zone on a 2-2 pitch today against Garcia to strike out after the Worth homer, so he'd like to get a quality pitch to work with here.
That's just experience. When you've been around, you know, don't panic. As a hitter, you're controlling what you can control, and that's barrel to the baseball. You can't steer it after it leaves your bat. But as a young player, you go panic mode. You start switching your stance around, changing your swing, maybe even getting a different bat. When in reality, you're doing everything you can do as a hitter. It's just bad luck.
How you deal with failure in this game is so important.
It is. Success too.
Espinosa got one to pull there. It's Carpenter to Wong. The runner is out at second. He dropped it on the exchange, and that's something that doesn't show up in the error column. But that is part of what St. Louis has struggled with this year. Some errors, but not turning double plays.
And do you see where Jason Worth slid? I mean, this is maybe the effect of the new rule. Watch him. He slides right there. Never gets to the base. I mean, it's kind of funny.
So much to think about. So little time.
You're almost scared to slide to the base because then it's going to be a double play.
Here's Jose Lobaton, pitcher on deck. Espinosa. I was just thinking, would the Nats be inclined to do some 2-out running here? Danny 1 for 1 this year. The Nationals have swiped some bases this week. They're 7th in the league with 12 in 16 attempts.
I say absolutely, and that's because
why not?
Joe Ross can hit. So if you want to pitch around Lobaton and Espinosa steals second, you got a pitcher that can rake.
Lobaton only 3 right-handed at-bats. Right up the middle, got some hair on it. Well played by the second baseman, Colton Wong, with a little underhand flip to Ruben Tejada. So the Nats strand a runner, the first they've left today.
How about some Geico highlights? We'll show you some Joe Ross today. He has been money. What new? Spotted a 4-run lead, so go out there and do your thing. Not that he needed a 4-run lead to do his thing. Just what he does. The slider's been outstanding. And you and I were talking during the break. Pedro Martinez for Delino DeShields was a pretty good trade for the Expos.
Not bad.
I don't know that this one's there yet, but it definitely has potential. Joe Ross from the Padres is looking good so far.
Trey Turner, his whole career in front of him. And Steven Souza Jr., hey, he's done some good things for the Rays. Not hitting for average, but hitting for power down there. Good for him.
He made another one of those diving catches the other night in Tampa on the track. Didn't save a no-hitter, but it was very similar.
I remember the night. Remember the night he climbed the wall in Atlanta and just about took the top of the wall off his throat.
Yeah.
Trying to catch a home run. Carpenter, Holiday, Adams, 2-3-4, bottom of the fourth. Ross 48 pitches, 31 strikes. Carpenter lined to Harper, first time up. That was a big out. Hazelbaker was on second base, nobody out. Bryce went and got it, and there was no advancement by the runner. Love the heaters under the hands of these lefties. Nissan too.
And you're thinking that two-seam fastball with the blister is going to be the real test for Joe and how long he goes in this game. I mean, so far so good, but on that middle finger, that's where the seam kind of makes contact on release.
That ball hit hard. Big hop to Zimmerman. Ryan's there. No panic. Ross where he needs to be. 1 out.
Celebrate the 2015 National League MVP with a Bryce Harper MVP bobblehead. That's presented by SAIC. First 25,000 fans on May 11th. Take home a piece of history. For tickets, visit nationals.com and get your Team America bobblehead.
Yeah, the bat a little quiet last 3-4 games.
He's human.
And they're pitching him as well as they can.
I mean, I think he's human. I don't know.
Holiday inside out swing, ground ball to Murphy first time. Matt Holliday, 3 homers this year, 278 in his career. He's over 1,100 RBIs now, on the way to 450 doubles. 13th year in the big league, 7 All-Star games, and he is a power hitter who won a batting title in 07. Hit .340 in Colorado.
I'll tell you what, that's a large human, and I haven't seen him in a while, but he looks bigger than he has in the past. In really good shape, right?
36 years of age, Matt Holliday.
And he's jacked.
Big breaking ball, got him on a pop-up to center. Murphy out, pointing so Taylor can see it. Sky getting a little brighter here, and that's 2 outs in the 4th inning.
Oh, your favorite part of the day, folks. Time for the Masson Trivia Scramble. Which Nats pitcher has recorded more than 230 strikeouts in each of the last 4 seasons? Text the answer to 29292 for your chance to win a Nats prize pack from Masson. I got Screech on that one. Brought to you by PNC National Debt Card. Log on to pnc.com/nationalscard to learn about amazing Nats benefits.
Yeah, how different
Screech.
our language would be if they years ago put 2 R's behind
That's
Z's.
Screech. It's not Scherzer. Come on. You think I'm stupid?
Matt Adams with a base hit to left. So not waiting around, attacking early in the count. That breaks a string of 11 straight by Joe Ross. That'll bring up Molina with 2 outs. Chris Byer moving some defense around.
Ryan Zimmerman going to the mound, or at least getting Joe Ross's attention. See how much good play right behind Matt Adams. Not holding him on.
Well, important against Molina because, as you noted, he goes the other way so much. Every foot or every yard you can cut off on that right side is big. There he goes, and it's foul. Oh for 1 career as Molina against Joe Ross with a couple of walks. Up the middle. Good wood on that one. St. Louis has hits together for the first time, and it'll be up to Brandon Moss.
"11-game hitting streak for Yadier Molina."
And over that time, he's now 13 for 35. Came in batting .333. Brandon Moss bouncing ball to Murphy first time. Came over here and played 51 games last year for the division champions. After a trade with the Indians for left-handed pitcher Rob Kaminsky. Hit .250 here with 4 home runs. A well-traveled American leaguer who had a little bit of time with the Pirates back in 08-09. Other than that, Boston, Oakland, Cleveland.
Dangerous hitter, big time pop.
He is. That's the second time Joe Ross has just about untied him with a fastball inside. And he gets the call.
But he's been down there all day. He's been consistent with this pitch for both sides. Moss didn't like the call. Pitch track thought it was low, but I mean, we've seen him stay right there. And as a hitter, that's all you can ask from an umpire is keep the same zone the whole game. If I have to cover that pitch as a hitter, I don't want to swing at it, but I will with 2 strikes if you're going to stay there.
2-1 pitch. Way inside, almost got him. Well, in pitchers, it's so comforting for them to know they don't have to pitch up in the zone to get strikes. So 3-1 here. Light hitting Ruben Tejada on deck, a right-handed batter. But he's a contact guy. And Ross will step off and take a pause here. Crowd getting revved up for the first time today. And on 3-1, he pulls the string.
Yeah, pitching, he's thrown a lot more this year. The changeup, Moss geared up for the fastball. He's thinking 4-3 ball game with one swing. Way out in front, head flies out. Good pitch. See if he doubles up here in a 3-2 count.
Yeah. Runners will be on the move. Adams at second, Molina at first. Not good speed out there. And Joe will step off again and contemplate this 2-on 2-out situation, fourth inning. He goes with a breaking ball and gets the fly ball. Short center, Taylor. And the Nationals' starting pitching in this series continues to be outstanding.
Tremendous poise.
Taylor due up second this half inning. Taylor came into today on a little bit of an offensive role, had reached base in 7 of his 17 plate appearances coming into today. And I talked to hitting coach Rick Shue earlier today about Taylor. He says he's seen a difference with Michael the last handful of days. He says he's not as jumpy. He's slow early as compared to being fast late with his swing. What Shue means by that is that he's just kind of slowing it down. He's not jumping at pitches, and he says that it's a lot easier to swing at strikes when you're slow early. You're not trying to rush your swing to catch up. He's getting that foot down. He's been a lot more under control. So Taylor mechanically locking it in, and that's allowing him, guys, to see better pitches and swing at better pitches.
It's allowing him to see the baseball. If you're slow with your feet and early with your feet, your head's still.
It's Dan with our Coons.com side report. FP tagging it, and over 2 million vehicles sold and counting at Coons.
That's so easy to say, though, when you're in front of 48,000 people and a guy's throwing 95 and tell your feet to be slow. It's not easy, man. I'm telling you. You're jacked up. You have this thing called adrenaline. You want to jump out and get the barrel out to hit 95. It's like slow dancing to acid rock. It's hard.
Pretty sure I've done that. Top of the 5th. Ross, Taylor, Rendon. Joe, by the way, 65 pitches now, 42 strikes, through 4. I'll tell you, Joe Ross has regulation hitter at bats.
He does. If you tune into a game and you would look at Joe Ross hitting, you think the number 3 hitter's up, and you talk about slow feet, his feet are perfect.
He's going to take a leadoff walk. He didn't try to goad Jeff Nelson into that call. He waited patiently for the umpire to say, take your base. When you have insight, you know how to handle your finances with confidence. It's all brought to you by PNC Bank. For the achiever in you, keep your eye on Victor Robles the next couple of years. From the Dominican, last 10 games at Hagerstown, 368. How long before he's in Potomac?
Tomorrow.
Could be quick.
Call him up.
Taylor, a healthy hack to start his third at bat of the day. He's lined out and struck out. Jaime Garcia threw him a changeup last time on 3-2 to get that K. Well, bad things should happen to you when you walk the pitcher leading off. Hot shot to short. Tejada and Wong, 6-4-3. Next 5 ball games encompassing 3 cities. The finale here tomorrow with Max Scherzer going on to the home of the world champions, Kauffman Stadium, 250 miles west of where we sit right now. Night games Monday, Tuesday, matinee Wednesday, and then 4 at Wrigley. Thursday's a night game. The rest of the games in Chicago are day games next weekend.
That's going to be rough.
But what about baseball?
It's going to be rough.
Okay.
I mean, I'm excited about Kansas City, but when I just see that little Chicago Cubs on the bottom, I get downright giddy.
Here's Anthony Rendon, 1 for 2. Trying to keep the inning alive for Bryce Harper. Wrigley Field's renovation was not quite finished when the Nats were there last year, so we'll look forward to seeing it in all of its glory. They've done an amazing job with that place.
Mood lighting in their home clubhouse. Can't wait to see that.
Was that Joe Madden's idea?
I don't know. Probably.
The guy thinks of everything. And then there are those White Sox cross town who are 16-8. They're having fun in Chi-Town right now. Cubs are 17-5. 4 wins in a row and rained out today against Atlanta. 2-1 to Rendon. Even though it's righty now, lefty in a moment, I don't think Garcia wants to walk a second guy in this inning. Cardinals play Rendon to pull it short. Right side infielders well off their marks towards up the middle. And Rendon does walk. Second walk of the inning for Jaime Garcia. Third of the game.
Our DC Lexus dealers, they're donating $250 to the Children's National Health System for every home run a Nats player hits this season. So keep them coming. It's for a wonderful cause. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. I don't know that I've ever seen a Jaime Garcia start where so many balls have gone to the screen. It's at least 5.
Yeah. Well, evidently the scoreboard operator didn't want to face Harper. He had Zimmerman up there. Now they've switched back to the number 3 hitter. Bryce stung a couple of foul balls last time before Garcia threw a hook and struck him out. First pitch, curve, ball 1. Boy, horrible ratio of first pitch strikes. All over the place in this inning.
taken all the way, huh?
Yes, he was.
Been a little more aggressive the last 2 or 3 games than you've seen him in the past, so maybe he's trying to slow things down.
Inside, 3-1. Nats are up 4. It's the top of the 5th. Garcia's selection with Zimmerman on deck will be interesting here. Harper to the right side. It'll back up Colton Wong, and that's it for the Nats in the top of the 5th inning. They've stranded only 2 runners, only 3 last night, 4-0.
Brought to you by Cox News Contour. Get right to the good stuff. 4-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and Joe Ross has been in command of this thing from the get-go. Spotted a 4 spot before he even took the mound, and we're going to show you this sequence to Brandon Moss. Pretty much tried to work him in, but I think the last 2 pitches kind of show you what Joe Ross is all about. And a couple guys on, a guy with some pop, so he goes 3-1 changeup and then 3-2 slider and gets Moss to pop up. So advanced stuff for a young kid. On the road, full house, the crowd's starting to get into it. Most young guys that throw 95 are going to try to throw 97 right there. He backs off, throws changeup slider to get a big out.
65 pitches, 42 strikes, through 4. Bottom of the order, Tejada, Wong, and Garcia. First time up, he struck out all 3 of these guys.
I mean, it usually takes guys a while to learn that in big situations, when a hitter's amped up, you go soft. The tendency for young guys to throw hard is to throw even harder.
Tejada base hit up the middle. Second time St. Louis has had their leadoff man on. Next up is Colton Wong, and then the pitcher spot. Colton Wong is 5'9", gets down into that crouch, presents a small target. And right in that target for Joe Ross.
Good frame.
And Wong's going to go up the middle. Taylor's got to pull up. So the bottom of the order gets a couple of hits here. And it's up to Garcia, who can handle the bat to move them ahead.
Anthony Rendon peeking into his dugout for the bunt defense here with runners on first and second, nobody out, and the pitcher hitting.
4 of the last 5 St. Louis hitters have now singled.
Anthony Rendon putting on signs. Mike Matheny flashing signs. Signs everywhere. Up by 4 if you're playing defense right now. It's about getting it out. Don't be so concerned about the lead run unless he just bunts it right back to the pitcher.
Garcia, 20 career sacrifices. Squares early. Espinosa heading for third. There's a play over there, and Ross decides not to try it. Sacrifice is good.
But getting back to the at bat we just showed you, on the road, hostile environment, he goes 3-1 changeup, 3-2 slider, and instead of trying to get the lead out here and maybe throwing it down the left field line, or he's safe at third, big inning, the crowd's into it, he chokes it off, goes to first base, gets the out. Smart play by Joe Ross. No need to create a huge inning for the Cardinals. Take the out that's there.
Well done by both pitchers right there. Top of the order, Hazelbaker, a double the other way, a swinging strikeout. First inning, third inning. That was an off-speed pitch blocked by Lobaton. Now this inning, St. Louis has much better speed on the bases than they did in the fourth. Tapper for a foul.
Well, he got a good feel for the changeup today. You usually don't see the 2-0 Joe Ross changeup, but he's thrown it a few times behind the count.
Three and one. Walked him, bases loaded. Joe Ross, first walk today.
Well, with the changeup, just held on to it a hair too long. Now Mike Maddox going to come out and try to tighten up his young right-hander.
Line drive hitter Matt Carpenter about to step in. Nats are moving around in the bullpen. Guys are stretching.
Where's the 30-second clock? I feel like it's up.
I think
like
it must be an hourglass.
5-yard penalty. You have to throw from 70 feet.
Joe's never had a real quick inning today. That third inning was a 1-2-3, but they were all strikeouts. That took a few offerings, 13 of them. So Matt Carpenter, who's 0 for 2 today and has bounced into 2 double plays this year. Ruben Tejada and Colton Wong led off with singles before the Hazel Baker walk. Garcia sacrifice, bunt in between. And that ball hooking foul into the right field corner.
First pitch changeup. Carpenter way out in front.
Never has hit a grand slam, knock on whatever, but he's been really tough with the bases loaded. No swings has been made down at third.
I don't think he even came close. Went with the slider. He saw it in. I think he's telling you based on his first swing and that check swing right there that he's looking in. He's looking to do damage. This guy sprays the ball all over the place. He's got pull side pop, but I don't think he's thinking big part of the ballpark sac fly. He's thinking more.
Yeah, based on the situation, down by 4. A lot of changeups here. He's been throwing mid-90s at times today. Don't want to get in trouble with too much off speed. Now the count in the hitter's favor, 2-1. And a ball hit out to center. The Nats will trade it out for a run. Taylor throws it to the right place. The shortstop cutoff. And St. Louis is on the board. So now it's Ross and Holiday.
Up at the count 2-1. Matt Carpenter probably thinking of bigger things, but that's a good at bat. He hit the ball as hard as he could to center field, got the sac fly, got his ball club on the board.
Bouncing ball to second, fly ball to center for Holiday.
Breaks up a scoreless inning streak for Joe Ross.
Yeah, almost made it to 19 innings. And it's a bouncer out to short. Espinosa to Murphy. That took a minute, and that was close. We had some body English from the booth going on that 6-4. Nats lead 4-1.
on the board. Yoga in the Outfield returns in 2016 following Nats Marlins. That game's on Sunday, May 15th. So get your Lululemon stuff out. Those girls are still stuck together, by the way. They've been there before spring training. It's very impressive. To purchase your tickets, visit nationals.com/yoga. Always popular, right, Carp? Yoga in the Outfield?
It's not a stretch to say that it will be. Curly W, relieved to be out of that inning. He's got the Chad Cordero ball cap look going there.
That's a Danny Espinosa look. Nats fans all over the place. Love it.
Zimmerman, Murphy, Worth. Time to add on here for the Nationals, who since the first inning have no runs on 1 hit and 3 walks. One of those to Ryan Zimmerman. Low in the zone.
He doesn't like it.
Ryan must feel like he's about 5'0" with the strike zone that's going on, but he's 6'3".
It's been consistent. That's all you can say.
Yeah. Ooh, that chopper came up and got Ryan. Nats box. First inning hits. Rendon off the pitcher. Murphy flared one to center. Worth, a hook out of the ballpark to left field. Worth's flared a right in the 4th, the only other hit. Ryan, I think, shaken up a bit there. To Hopper, Ruben Tejada. Murphy and Worth the next 2 here in the 6th. Garcia has really settled down. Mixing things up well, getting some ground balls, a few strikeouts here and there. The double play last inning was huge in a frame where he walked 2. Murphy 1 for 2, and Daniel looking for that 11th multi-hit game of the year.
Yeah, I think it's important even for younger players, if an umpire has a certain zone, say it's a low strike zone, that you don't just swing at it because he's calling it until you get to 2 strikes. You hope the pitcher's going to make a mistake higher than the low part of the zone today if you're a Nats hitter, or a Cardinals hitter for that matter. But don't just swing at that low pitch because it's being called until you get to 2 strikes. I think you see it a lot of times at the lower levels, even in the minor leagues. Oh, this ump has a high zone, so I'm going to swing at the high pitch. No, you stay in your strike zone, in your happy spot, until you get to 2 strikes. Don't ever let a strike zone affect your game plan as a hitter until you have to protect with 2 strikes.
And Murphy gets under that one. Brandon Moss a ways to come. 2 outs in the 6th. When the Nats draw a walk, and 3 of them today, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support Girls on the Run DC. So this year, nearly $80, getting close to $4,000. Take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield wants you to take a walk. Into the 3 o'clock hour in St. Louis, 4 o'clock back home. In the shadow of the Gateway Arch. Nationals 4, Cardinals 1. Worth the reason. Garcia really turning that one over.
Tell you what, I've seen a more aggressive Jason Worth this year, especially recently. That tells you he's feeling good about his approach. Swinging a lot of pitches early in the count. You usually don't see him do that. He's a guy that likes to see 5 or 6, 7 pitches.
lot of hard ground balls right at the shortstop today. Nationals go 1-2-3 again. Cardinals have 4, 5, 6 coming up in a 4-1 game. A couple of hits, a walk and a sac fly. So we go inside some numbers with Jeep and the scoreless inning streaks of the year. Joe Ross bettered by only Jake Arrieta, who finally gave one up just a couple of days ago in his last start as a Cub.
Well, I guess
Tanner Roark on the list.
I guess the question is now, does Joe Ross get a tweet from Dan Herron?
Thinking about you.
Heard you gave up a run. Hang in there. Thinking about you.
Keep your dauber. Don't let your dauber down. There's Tanner, who has pitched so well. His folks are here from Illinois for the weekend. And a breaking ball low. Bottom of the 6th, Matt Adams, the hitter. Fly ball to center, base hit to left. Joe's at 80 pitches, so he would love a quick 6th inning. Garcia pitching well.
Well, he done a nice job after the first.
Yeah, could have been a blowout by now.
Veteran
Ross goes
pitcher,
3-0.
take advantage of a low strike zone.
Four-pitch walk.
He keeps looking down at the mound all of a sudden after every pitch. I don't know if all of a sudden there's a divot, a hole. He's not liking, I mean, he's digging it out right now. He's not liking the surface.
Cardinals box score, only hit in the first. The leadoff double by Hazelbaker. 2 hits by Adams and Molina in the 4th. Tejada and Wong with the Carpenter sac fly got him on the board in the 5th. Here's Yadier Molina. Espinosa ranging into center robbed him of a hit, and then Molina lined one hard up the middle last time up. Target in, looking for a ground ball, but the pitch was up. .440 Nationals, 151 Cardinals. They've stranded 5. And Molina hits one up the middle. Murphy, Espinosa, there's time. 4-6-3 double play. Molina not that quick out of the box or down the line, and Danny's got that makeup arm speed.
Well, a nice play by Daniel Murphy to the backhand, going way up the middle. And we talked about how nice the second base he's played so far, and that's a nifty play. Once he gets it to Espinosa, that's a double play because Molina can't run. You see the shovel feed. Espinosa has time. Doesn't have to worry about a runner going wide and taking him out right there. So a comfort zone that middle infielders haven't had in a while around the bag that you might not have had in the past.
Foul ball by Brandon Moss. Well done, yeah. Murph chatting with Doug Eddings there, who might have said, hey, umpires say nice play, don't they?
So this in the past, if you're Danny Espinosa, you're going to have to worry about the runner, right? He doesn't have to. He's looking at Murphy, not the runner right there. And back in the day, you're getting crushed if you're a shortstop, almost blindsided right there. And Adams had to go straight in the bag, and that allowed Espinosa to turn a double play without any interference.
Timing couldn't be better for Joe Ross. Brandon Moss, the power guy, steps in. 2 outs, bases empty. He gets a strike with the curveball. That's why that double play is important, because Moss always seems to hit the Nationals well. He's aboard with 2 outs. Bringing in Ruben Tejada. There's Oliver Perez. Left-hander Colton Wong on deck, who could represent the Tigers.
Yeah, this could be his last hitter. That's why Mike Maddox is coming out here to get Oliver Perez loose. This is to buy some time for the bullpen. Plenty of time, Mike. You're good.
So the double play has already saved him some pitches this inning. The sun is out in full display for the first time today.
I mean, you're thinking if he goes to Perez to face Wong, if it gets that far, that it might be Perez versus Jed Jerko.
And a ball lifted to left center. Jason Worth tracking it. And Joe Ross, in his 3 starts when the blister wasn't bugging him, has now gone 7, 7 2/3, and 6. Well, cricket brings you something to smile about. And Joe Ross may not be done after 93 pitches. He's due to bat third here in the top of the 7th.
Come on, SB.
Danny Espinosa, SP to his teammates, leads off. And then Jose Lobaton, Lobie to his teammates, bats after him. And Joe Ross, Joe to his teammates after him. 93 pitches, 56 strikes. Big outs when needed.
I think you should go through the order telling the folks at home what everybody is to their teammates. I'll help you.
Yeah, I'll need a help on a couple.
That's good stuff. I mean, fans have nicknames for players, but within the confines of the clubhouse, they have nicknames. Some not suitable for TV. Most are, though.
Okay, I'll let you handle the ones that aren't. Ooh, my. 0-2 pitch near Danny Espinosa's left knee or right on it. That was not a glancing blow.
But we were talking about it in his locker this morning in the clubhouse, how he's not getting out of the way. If you're going to come in with 2 strikes, he's going to let it hit him every time. And that one got him right on the kneecap. That does not feel good, trust me.
Danny Espinosa hit for the 3rd time this year, most on the Nationals. Jonathan Broxton's been up and throwing for St. Louis for a few minutes. So here's Lobaton with Joe Ross on deck.
Wow.
Pretty good sign of respect for Joe Ross hitting, huh? Trying to sacrifice in front of the pitcher.
Well, you remember that extra inning game, Dusty Baker gave the bunt sign to Danny Espinosa with Joe Ross pinch hitting on deck.
By the Nats, still 1 hit since the 1st inning. They've had some walks. They have a hit batter. Just another hit or 2 to maybe put the icing on this one. Long way to go.
I'll just say this, and it's being as honest as I can. There's no player in the big leagues that feels awesome about bunting somebody over for a pitcher, regardless of how good the pitcher is. I mean, you understand the strategy, you understand that Joe Ross hits, but there's that certain pride factor as a position player where I'm going to bunt somebody over for the pitcher. It's not an easy thing to wrap your head around as a player, is all I'm saying. I've known some players to conveniently miss that sign too at times. What? Huh? What was on?
I kind of like the fact that on the scoreboard up in right center, they have Jose Lobaton hitting 300. On the year, he's actually 4 for 25, which is $160. But he's made use of his 4 hits, 3 runs batted in. Now it's 0-2. Runner going. Oh, and Espinosa had quite a jump, but with 2 strikes, got to be hacking if it's close. I think Danny knows he had that one swiped.
Tell you what, it's hard here at ballparks like this. You see the cutout on the grass to really know where you are in the lead. Usually if you get a foot toward the cutout, you're close.
Yeah, a lot bigger here, isn't it?
But that cutout here is way out there. See how far out that is? Usually it's a barometer where my lead is. But here, it's no man's land. If you get out to that cut, you're picked.
0-2, Lobaton strikes out. Jaime Garcia, first strikeout since the 4th inning. 5 on the day. And we'll see if Joe Ross can help his team toward an add-on run. Joe on the year, 3 for 8. Drew a walk last time. Sammy Solis, Colton Wong, Hazel Baker, Carpenter, all left-handed hitters coming up soon. The pitcher spot due up second, and everybody on the bench is right-handed. Well, there's the classic. Throw it over and see if the guy squares around, and Ross was already in bunting position.
Or was he?
Maybe early to set up a butcher boy.
Never know.
So much going on in this game on every pitch. It's amazing. They pitch out.
Mike Matheny thinking like I was. He thought Joe Ross was deking the bunt. And then after the throw over, Dusty Baker was going to go hit and run. Decides to pitch out.
Top of the 7th inning, 4-1 Nationals. Carpenter in shallow from third. Ross switches off, hits a tapper. Carpenter can't cut it off, and then it's dropped by Tejada. Another error by the Cardinals, their 2nd of the game, and it's 1st and 2nd with the top of the order coming up.
I wonder if Matt Carpenter ran interference right here on Ruben Tejada, meaning he blocked him off. I think Tejada might have lost track of the baseball. See Carpenter kind of going in front of him. That kind of changed Tejada's footwork right there. He tried to put on the brakes, lost sight of the ball, and that's in business here in the top of the 7th.
And that is it for Jaime Garcia, who will go 6 1/3. Nats hit him early, then he pitched well. This call to the bullpen brought to you by the UPS Store. Together, there's nothing we can't solve. Visit the upsstore.com for locations. Telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Papelbon got the save last night. Now another Jonathan brought into the game here by Mike Matheny. It'll be big Jonathan Broxton. Double switch. Aledmys Diaz goes to short. He'll be hitting 9th. And here's Broxton, the longtime Dodger. 10th game of the year and a 1.04 ERA. Strikeout guy.
Yeah, fastball, slider, change. Fastball 94, slider 87, changeup 87.
Taylor trying to make the error heard here. Nats have 2 runners aboard without a base hit. Taylor, 85. He's 0 for 2 career against the 31-year-old right-hander. All 6'4", 285 of him.
Joe Ross can run at first base, and he's watching Danny Espinosa.
He's got a great lead because Adams is 20 feet off the line at least.
Colton Wong keeping Espinosa close.
Taylor, Tapper, third base side. Carpenter to first, gets him by a step. Both runners move up.
Cardinals probably walk Rendon to get to Harper.
Sure.
Come see the Nats Stars tomorrow. Just 30 minutes away from Nats Park. The P-Nats are back in town through May 1st. To purchase your tickets, call the number on your screen or go to the website.
Anthony Rendon, 2 plate appearances against Jonathan Broxton, who has walked him twice. Rendon rams one to the gap in right center, but over to grab it is Moss. He hit it as hard as you can. And the Nats have now stranded 4 base runners.
First inning, you got Matt Adams to fly out to center with a runner on second. How about the 4th inning? Brandon Moss, we showed you the 3-1 changeup, the 3-2 slider, a couple guys on. Nicely done. And then after a leadoff walk in the 6th, a nice 4-6-3 double play. Good feed by Daniel Murphy. Nice turn by Danny Espinosa. So the young Joe Ross had it all going on here today in St. Louis.
Yeah, Joe, 6 innings, 4 runs on 6 hits, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts, got a big double play ball last inning. 93 pitches, 56 strikes. Sammy Solis, second appearance. He made 18 as a rookie last year, so an inning and 2/3 so far. He gave up a home run the other night. So right here, it is Randall Grichuk batting for Colton Wong. Grichuk started last night. Played center field, went 0 for 4. And has been scuffling. We'll tell you about that after the at bat.
And nice day for Joe Ross, Gio Gonzalez. Have a little chat with the right-hander. Gio saying, hey man, can I get some of that run support you're getting?
Yeah, Gio could be 3-0 or 4-0 right now. And a 2-1 is inside. Nice fastball at 94 with movement away from the right-handed hitter. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Might have got a little help here. Take it.
And a 3-2. Solis throws a strike, and Randall Grichuk is 0 for his last 16. 1 out.
Two-seam fastball. Kind of a spray chart right there, right? Grichuk forcing the issue. Nice pitch by Sammy. Max Scherzer, Joe Ross having a nice chat in there. Teacher and pupil, really. Max Scherzer's taking Ross under his wing. He's not talking about him hitting. He's talking about somebody that he faced.
There's Aledmys Diaz, who came in on the double switch top of this inning.
It's so important to have a good veteran break in a young player. And even from back to last year when Joe Ross got called up in Tampa, and it was 97 degrees and Max Scherzer was going for a run. He said, come on, put your shoes on, we're going. And he was like, what? I said, yeah, let's go. And then Joe Ross will do that for some young pitcher someday too.
Sammy showing him the fastball up and away on 0-2. So Joe Ross in his next start will get enough innings to break into the ERA leader category. Right now he'd be 4th at 0.79, but he's like 1 out short. Tough play. Rendon finds it. Too tall for Zimmerman. Tough play on a ball hit really hard. I have a feeling they'll give the hometown guy a hit on this one.
Well, he had to go to the backhand in between hop, and the longer you play in a day game, the harder that infield gets, but he stayed with it nice. And I think he's safe with a good throw. I don't think the throw mattered.
Lefty-lefty matchup now. Hazelbaker. Matheny could have gone to a right-handed hitting outfielder. Stephen Piscotty here. They gave Anthony Rendon an error on that. Boy, they are really used to calling errors around here. That ball was killed. That's Rendon's 3rd error this week. Ball scorched, backhand in between hop. Solis keeps throwing strikes. Hazelbaker 1 for 2 with a double and a walk. Felipe Rivero firing. Sean Kelly's been up for a while. Nats still have 7 outs to get to win this series. 0-2 target away. Breaking ball for the strikeout. Solis pumping the heater, and then he gets Hazelbaker with the hook.
Oh, you got a good fastball. The mid-90s as a hitter, you got to start early, and that's what Hazelbaker did to get to the fastball. And Solis drops the slider in there for strike 3. Nicely done.
Here's Matt Carpenter. Bunch of Cardinals seeing Solis for the first time. The only guys who've ever faced him, Jed Jerko and Ruben Tejada. Tejada out of the game. Carpenter today 0 for 2, sac fly for their only run. Pulls that one. Right side, Murphy waiting for the bouncer. And the Nats continue to shut down the best offense in baseball. Top of the 8th coming. Bryce will lead off. Zimmerman and Murphy right after it. Do-ups. So Bryce this season, late inning guy, 4 of his 9 home runs. Ryan Zimmerman, 7 runs scored on the road, and Daniel Murphy. Pick your category for him. Jed Jerko into the ball game to play second base.
Checking the sun.
And he's batting 8th. Harper against Broxton career. 1 at bat, 1 walk. Lefty, righty, lefty here, and Mike Matheny goes with the right-hander. Pitch. Off speed, 3-0.
Haven't seen a fastball yet.
See one now.
Change up, slider.
Let it rip if he throws one now. .3-0, and Bryce will take another base on balls. Second in this series. MLB.TV Premium. It's the #1 live streaming sports service and gives you everything you have come to expect. Every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. And a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Check out MLB.TV. Zimmerman against Broxton, 3 for 9, 3 RBIs. Whoa, that's way inside and hit him. Ryan looked back at Jeff Nelson, and it nicked him on the way by, and the Nationals have 2 on, nobody out.
There's 2 sounds. Got his jersey. Let's listen to it. Click, click, take your base.
Next up, Murphy. 0 for 1 against Broxton career.
Just got his jersey. Look at that.
And the Nats a chance to deal a potential knockout blow here, up by 3 in the 8th. Harper daring Broxton to throw, and that's with Diaz playing right behind him.
You know who hates that hit by pitch? Danny Espinosa's knee. That was just jersey. That was a painless hit by pitch.
Yeah. There's Seth Maness. Yeah, Ryan got off easy there. Yeah. Well, Zimmerman without a hit, but he's on for the 2nd time today. And here we go again with this. The Nats need just 1 key hit statement. It's been that way in the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, and now the 8th. Two and 0.
Oh, he's looking for 1 pitch, 1 spot. Always talks about getting off his ace swing. So disciplined at the plate. But he's thinking about doing some damage here in a 2-0 count.
Murphy up the middle, base hit. Harper read it. Here he comes, and Bob Henley was going to hold him. Another St. Louis error. Hazelbaker boots it, and the Nationals lead 5-1. Bob Henley had Bryce Harper stopping at 3rd until the center fielder missed it. And that'll be his 2nd error of the day. 3 by St. Louis.
I mean, he should seriously think about changing his middle name to Hits. Daniel Hits Murphy does it again. 2nd hit of the day, 2nd RBI of the day, 12 on the year, and he takes a 2-0 fastball, goes right back up the middle. I mean, he could just flat out hit, and Hazelbaker took his eye off it or whatever, but he did stop Bryce Harper at 3rd. It was a good play, nobody out. Bryce hesitated on the line drive, and then whoa, get going.
Yeah, get your head on a swivel and pick up the outfielder.
Daniel Murphy can hit, folks. My goodness.
And for Murphy, his 11th multi-hit game of the year. No RBI because of the error, but that's all right. Nats have their 4-run lead back, and here's Worth.
Oh yeah, my bad. I gave an RBI.
Looking to elevate here, and that's a breaking ball for a strike.
I'm like a little league scorekeeper. If you score, it's an RBI.
Yeah. Did you give Zimmerman a hit?
Yeah, if you reach first, it's. My mom used to do that when we were all slumping. She'd say, if you reach first today, it's a hit in the scorebook. I'd say, all right. That was when I was in AA.
Well, first order of business, no matter what. Get this 6th run home. Get the ball game out of slam range with 2 innings to go.
Boy, it's just 11 nights of 8 hours of sleep. 22 games, right?
Murphy?
That's
11 multi-hit games. Infield in. Holiday, the deepest outfielder in left. 0-2. Jason trying to protect and get an RBI.
Just based on the defense and the way Jerko's set up, they have the infield in. So obviously Mike Matheny trying to cut off this run, but it would be tough for Jerko to get back and cover second should Daniel Murphy take off. You obviously have to respect Yadier Molina, but he's nowhere near being able to cover second base on a steal right now.
One, two. Worth a home run, a base hit. Battling on 0-2 now to 1-2. Breaking ball out of play. Having a good at bat. And we know how Jason is more dangerous with every foul ball. History says so.
History against his team says so.
Yeah. Here's the hole at bat from Nissan. The 0-2 pitch was the one up and out, and then foul ball since. A walk, a hit batter, a base hit, an error, nobody out. And Worth up the middle. Held on by Hazelbaker. Zimmerman tags. That's as good as a 350-foot fly ball. And the Nats lead 6-1.
A great at bat by Jason Worth. Two-strike approach, throws it out to center field. He would love to have had a base hit to show, but he'll take the sac fly. Good base running by Ryan Zimmerman going back. Can't tell you how many times, even at the highest level, you see guys on third base wander down the line thinking that the ball's going to drop, just assuming it's going to drop. Zimmerman went back to third, tagged up, and got Jason Worth a sac fly and an RBI.
Jason Worth, a 4 RBI day, 13 on the season, 5 in this series. Next up, Danny Espinosa. 1-for-2 career against Jonathan Broxton. 2 huge add-on runs here.
Here we go again with Ricky Henderson at first. He can run, but he's leading the league in throwovers. They have to have a stat for that. I think he has 450 already this year.
I think pitchers are so mad at him for all these multi-hit games, they just want to take his legs out from under.
Trying to hit him.
The Nats have 42,000 plus, very quiet.
58 career stolen bases for Murphy in 8 years. That's respectable.
Yeah.
23 in 2013.
7 per year or so.
13 in 2014. 2 last year.
Yeah, he's too busy going to second on doubles.
That's right.
Espinosa off the end of the bat. This one to Brandon Moss for the second out. Number 8 hitter Jose Lobaton. Felipe Rivero has been up for quite a while, so he'll be pitching the 8th. Jose Lobaton will turn around and go left-handed here. 0-for-1 career against Broxton. Ball one. And it's low.
Dusty Baker's looking for somebody on the bench. I'm wondering if Sammy Solis is really going to hit here if Jose Lobaton reaches.
Yeah, I mean, Rivero's been up for a while. Sammy, by the way, is a .500 big league hitter, 1 for 2. 3-0. And we're going to find out. Right now it's going to be Solis. And managers have been known in a situation to maybe hit a guy and then take him out. But Clint Robinson's going to get a shot here. So Lobaton's aboard. The Nats continue to occupy the bases with very few hits lately. Mike Matheny on his way to the mound. So Clint Robinson for the Nationals, who have scored 2 big ones here in the 8th. On Matson, brought to you by T-Mobile. Get major league coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. And by your local Kia dealers. Visit dckiadealers.com to learn more. Well, downtown St. Louis has been quieted by the Washington Nationals today. Clint Robinson, first career at bat against the right-hander Seth Maness.
Yeah, fastball slider change, fastball 87. Real short arm delivery gets on you quick. So if you're hitting against Maness, you got to get going early. Opponent's hitting 400.
Clint Robinson needs a knock. 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter. 1 for 18. That one hit did produce a couple of RBIs.
And it was right where nobody's playing right now at shortstop.
Yeah. So the runners as we reset. Daniel Wheels Murphy at second. And Jose Lobaton first base. Boy, that is a quick short arm. Clint rips it to the right side, but it's handled by Jed Jerko. And the Nats are done in the 8th, but they pick up 2 big runs and a Murphy hit, an error, and a Worth sacrifice fly, 6-1. Going for their first sweep ever in St. Louis, and a St. Louis guy will be pitching for the visitors. It's Max, looking for win number 108. He's 2-1 with a 4.35 ERA. And then there is young Mr. Carlos Martinez, who can really bring it. He has really prospered since they made him a starter. First career start against the Nats. 130, Johnny and Ray with Nats Extra.
Talked to Max the other day. He said he's ironed out his fastball command issues. He's got it. He's good. Little mechanical adjustment. He's ready to rock and roll.
Happy to hear that. Makes me can't wait for tomorrow.
I see the arsenal for Felipe Rivera. Fastball averaging 95 this year. Slider 79. He's gone to the changeup 21% of the time. Last year he only threw it 5. It's become a weapon for him at 87 miles an hour. Opponents hitting just 171 against the Nats left-hander. His
12th appearance.
His job to throw strikes right now, up by 5.
Yeah, he'll get a little challenge action here with Matt Holliday, who he faces for the first time. Fastball right in there. Holliday today 0 for 3. 2 ground balls are on the fly ball to center. 5-game hitting streak on the line.
There's the changeup.
1-2. Mets, by the way, have an early lead, 3rd inning, 4-0 over the Giants, who are tied with the Dodgers for first place in the West, and they're both 12-12. Rivero gets the fly ball. Bryce Harper, long way to go, using the glove for shade to his knees to make a very tough catch. Well played.
Well, he used his glove the whole way. You see him keeping his eyes in the shade, but eventually he had to take that glove away to find the baseball, and he does.
Wow. There's Matt Adams.
Pair of sliders.
And the 0-2. Not even close. Cloberton started chasing Adams and then threw to Zimmerman. More on the bullpen. Here's Dan.
Bob, those 2 runs the Nationals scored last half inning, nice for a couple reasons. Obviously, it increases their lead to 5, gives them a little insurance, but it allows Dusty Baker to avoid using Jonathan Papelbon, assuming it stays a 5-run cushion and doesn't get into save territory today. Papelbon had gone the last 2 days throwing a total of 30 pitches. Dusty said earlier today he really hoped to stay off Papelbon, give him a day of rest.
He looks like he's resting. Shades on, kicking back. I don't think he would have used Papelbon even if it was a save opportunity. I think you'd see the guy on the mound right now in the 9th if it was a 3-run lead.
1-1 from Rivera to Yadier Molina, who will hook one down into the left field corner. Molina with that base hit, 1 for 2 career against Felipe Rivera. And the Cardinals have their first base runner as far as second base since the 5th inning.
Might have been a slider, dug it out nice.
So Yadier Molina 2 for 4 today, extending his hitting streak to 11 games with 14 hits. Next up, a lefty-lefty matchup. Brandon Moss into the 4 o'clock hour. We are here in the Midwest. The Nats won last night 5-4. Jason Worth 4 RBIs today. It's 6-1 Washington. And Joe Ross in line for his 3rd win. Shift on. Murphy in short right field. And a 1-1. He's got some kind of breaking ball going to these lefties.
Well, it's 14 miles an hour slower than his fastball. Fastball's 97, slider's 83.
Overmatched some of these guys, including Brandon Moss. 2 Ks for Rivero into the 9th. 6-1 Washington. About to win a series some business to take care of. Jason Worth has been great. I'm sure Ray will be all over his hitting during our Nats Extra postgame show. Johnny is with him, and it's all presented by W.B. Mason when this one's over. It's good news when the other team's ball club, well, the other team is a ball club, and their closer needs some work. Trevor Rosenthal, you'd rather see him in the ninth inning like this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pretty much 2 pitches. Fastball change. Fastball averaging 96.8. It averaged 97.6 last year. And, you know, from a hitter standpoint, if there's a save opportunity tomorrow for the Cardinals, you get a sneak peek at their closer today. I always thought that was very valuable.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you could see a closer in a non-save situation, just to see his release point, his stuff. So maybe you face him when the game's on the line, you have a better idea.
By the way, that was a 14-pitch, 11-strike inning by Felipe Rivero. Taylor leads off the ninth. Got a fastball up, and it's out of play. Michael A. Taylor, well, especially for a guy like him, seeing Rosenthal for the first time. Michael 0 for 4 today. Oh, 2.
Hit the ball hard his first time up to left. The double play he hit into in the 5th was a bullet right at short. So he's hit the ball hard twice today with nothing to show.
This will be close to the barrier and just in. Trevor Rosenthal, 101 career saves, 5 of them this year. And a swing and a miss on a big breaking ball. Bryce Harper will get another at bat right after Anthony Rendon here. Anthony 2 for 4 career against Trevor Rosenthal.
1 for 3 today, on base a couple of times, lined out to right his last time up. Now you're seeing the progression of a lot of hitters that have been scuffling early in the season, starting to figure it out a little bit. Guy in the batter's box right now, tick away from being on fire. You can see his swings getting to where he's used to. Jason Worth, same way. Name me a team that has, well, maybe the Pirates, other than the Pirates, that has 7, 8 guys locked in at the same time.
Rendon, he'll sneak one up the middle. Yeah, how about their batting average coming into today? 293. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to have 3 or 4 guys going good and 3 or 4 guys scuffling. It's just a matter of which guys win. And you ideally, when you get into September, want everybody firing on all cylinders. But you're seeing signs. You saw signs from Jason Worth at the end of the homestand that you're seeing him reap the benefits now and some good swings. Ryan Zimmerman on deck's real close.
And then there's Ben Revere. Harper hits one to the shortstop. And a 6-3 double play calmly turned by the rookie Diaz. So we're going bottom 9. The Nats by 5, 3 outs to get. He has driven in 5 in this series, 4 today. And now it's up to Sean Kelly to get 3 outs. Pitcher spot, then the bottom 2 for St. Louis. Looks like Stephen Piscotty will be the first guy in there.
Okay, throws that slider more than the fastball. Slider 61% of the time in the low 80s. Fastball in the low 90s, upper 80s. Opponent's hitting 192 against Sean Kelly.
Tenth appearance, great ERA. Can't be any better. Stephen Piscotty against Sean Kelly. 1 career plate appearance. It was a sac fly. .90 to the outer edge. Well, the Giants have come up with some runs. Mets 4, San Francisco 3, 3rd inning. That's a great breaking ball by Sean Kelly. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, there's a slider. Subtle and late. Tough to pick up.
I tell you, the Nats pitchers have been spectacular today. Ross, Solis, Rivero, Kelly.
Man, somebody gonna have to give that bullpen a clever nickname here sooner or later, because they've been lights out early in this season. First month of the year. They've been great.
Jed Jerko, second at bat, pinch hit in the 7th, struck out. Kelly, fastball and the hook for strikes.
They need an identity down there, I feel like.
It's not this easy.
They're kind of all feeding off each other, right? I mean, you see that over the years when you have everybody doing their thing in the bullpen, and Dusty's established roles early. They know when they're called upon. They have that comfort level down there. Hey, when the phone rings, it's me, and it's only April. And credit Mike Maddox and Dusty Baker for figuring out their new bullpen quickly and establishing roles so you get the best out of these guys.
One-two pitch. Challenge fastball. Fly ball to center. It'll move Michael A. Taylor back. Glasses blazing in the sun. 2 outs. So the Nats are about to win a series in St. Louis for the first time since May 2007. And a chance for a sweep with Max going tomorrow.
I mean, this game is all about Joe Ross today. I know they got 4 in the first for him, and they came out ready to swing.
Rookie pitcher in a place like this.
Yeah, I mean, this is not an easy environment, as we've seen throughout the years, for even veteran guys to come in when you have a full house on the road. And there were some situations where he was up against it, a couple runners on, the crowd was getting to the game, and for a 22-year-old to show the poise he did and make the pitches he did really tells you all you need to know about this guy.
0-2.
I mean, the stuff plays, don't get me wrong. You don't want to sell him short on his 95-mile-an-hour sinker slider combination, but the maturity level, the mound presence, and the poise is way beyond his 22 years.
Advanced stuff. I love it when you say that about Joe Ross. That one gets umpire Jeff Nelson. And you were talking in context a couple of starts ago about his holding runners as instructed by Max Scherzer.
The total game, though, Carp. He fields his position. He holds runners. He helps himself at the plate every 5th day. Bunts guys along. Gives you a good at-bat. I mean, total package.
One strike to get to win a series. Base hit. The league's leading hitter has hit it hard twice. I think he should be 2 for 2, but they called that one on Rendon an error. And he comes up here and gets a clean single to left.
Well, I think he should be benched tomorrow, too.
Don't start him, Mike. Jeremy Hazelbaker, 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. Runner goes. Nats concede second base.
Going over the sign sequence right now real quick.
Oh-2. Swing and a miss on a big curveball. And the Nats win a series in St. Louis for the first time in 9 years. 3 hours and 2 minutes to do it. Jason Worth, 4 RBIs. Great pitching, Joe Ross. And the bullpen gets it done as well. For FP and for Dan, Bob Carpenter, the final. The Nats 6, the Cardinals 1. Tomorrow, Max Scherzer goes for the sweep when the Nats and the Cards get together again. Nats Extra, our coverage begins at 1:30 p.m. This has been a presentation of Masson. Stay tuned. Johnny and Ray straight ahead. And from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, see